Now, this time we start meditation on feeling, contemplation of feeling. Let us read this first and then we discuss it. And how bhikkhus does a bhikkhu dwell contemplating feelings in feelings? Here when feeling, pleasant feeling, a bhikkhu understands, I feel a pleasant feeling. When feeling a painful feeling, he understands, I feel a painful feeling. When feeling a neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he understands, I feel neither painful nor pleasant feeling. When feeling a carnal pleasant feeling, he understands, I feel carnal pleasant feeling. When feeling a non-carnal pleasant feeling, he understands, I feel non-carnal pleasant feeling. When feeling a carnal painful feeling, he understands, I feel a carnal painful feeling. When feeling a non-carnal painful feeling, he understands, I feel non-carnal painful feeling. When feeling carnal neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he understands, I feel carnal neither painful nor pleasant feeling. When feeling a non-carnal neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he understands, I feel non-carnal neither painful nor pleasant feeling. In this way, he dwells contemplating feeling in feelings internally, or he dwells contemplating feelings in feelings externally, or he dwells contemplating feelings in feelings both internally and externally, or else he dwells contemplating in feeling their nature of arising, or he dwells contemplating in feelings their nature of vanishing. He dwells contemplating in feelings their nature of both arising and vanishing, or else mindfulness that there is feeling is simply established in him to the extent necessary for bare knowledge and mindfulness, and he dwells independent, not clinging to anything in the world. This is how bhikkhu dwells contemplating feelings in feelings. It is very straightforward, and now let us spend some time on this section. Feeling in I think in Western psychology, feeling is more mental and sensation is more physical, I think. So, this is how they make the distinction between physical and mental. In Buddhist tradition, all feelings, whether they are physical or mental, they all are called feelings. Feeling is one of the four establishments of mindfulness. That means it is so important. In fact, the feeling is the basis of, in a way, of the Four Noble Truths. Because the first is dukkha. Dukkha is a feeling, and not just physical pain. Even when we attain full enlightenment, with the full understanding with clear comprehension of feelings, still pain exists. So pain alone, pain doesn't disappear until we pass away after enlightenment. However, we can overcome pain temporarily for a certain period of time, especially during what is called Sanya Vedita Nirodha. There, the feeling and perception cease. When the feeling and perception cease, in that particular attainment, which we gain or we attain after the fourth jhana. In detailed explanation, one goes through the immaterial attainments. They also are 4, and after that they attain Sanya Vedita Nirodha, cessation of feeling and perception. Now, until such time, feeling of pain and pleasure exist. Some meditation teachers teach only feeling, and they very often repeat Vedana samosarna sabbe dhamma. All the dhammas converge in feeling. When we, especially when we meditate, we experience the feeling, and that is where the meditator should have some mindfulness and discipline to not get involved in emotions. And mindfulness can be well established at the time we have feelings. Feeling arises, as we all know, I, for instance, one example, I, visual objects, eye consciousness, then eye contact. When contact arises, along with that feeling arises. Now, we can be mindful of the feeling far better and for a long period of time than sustaining our awareness on any other state. For instance, when the conscious level, it is very difficult because we are conscious of various things. And contact level, we feel the contact, and immediately after that feeling arises. But feeling can be prolonged, but contact no. Consciousness no. So consciousness, contact passes very quickly, so is feeling as well, but feeling we feel little longer, and also feeling shifts from one place to another. For instance, we feel the stiffness of our buttocks when we sit long. We feel for a long time we are sitting, we feel the feeling of contact, tension, pressure. And when we move, we straighten our body, that feeling changes and another feeling can arise. So feeling can move from place to place, and And also, impermanence of feeling can be noticed better than others, because others happen so quickly we don't have even time to pay attention to them because of their swiftness. But the feeling, as it stays longer, mind can stay there longer. So development of mindfulness would be much better, easier on feeling. Mindfulness of feeling seems to be relatively easier than other states. For instance, even when we breathe, how do we know breathe? How do you know breathing? Only through feeling. When we move, close our eyes without seeing anything, we feel the movement. When we stand up, we feel the standing up. And we lie down, we feel the lying down. When we stretch our hands, we feel the stretching. And what you call bending and stretching, we feel. And therefore, feeling is a very good subject of meditation. So the Buddha says here, when feeling pleasant feeling, a bhikkhu understands, I feel pleasant feeling. Here, as I mentioned this morning and all through, we don't use the sentence, I feel a pleasant feeling. We experience a pleasantness of the feeling. Pleasantness. Because it arises depending on causes and conditions. Nobody deliberately creates feeling. It arises depending on senses, sensory object, consciousness and contact. These four factors must be there prior to prior to arising of feelings. And therefore when we come to feeling, we have seen the process very quickly. The process has taken place, and then mind stays longer on feeling. And therefore we can make the distinction between these various type of feelings. So we can understand without using any word, no concept, because we are paying total attention from the very beginning to our experiences. And also remember, I mentioned several times, anupassana, vipassana, anupassana. Vedana, the Pali word is Vedana anupassana. Vedana anupassi. Pali word is Vedanasu Vedananupassi. When the feeling is there, during that time we become aware of the feeling. That is how dependent origination operates. In the dependent origination formula, Buddha said, when this is, this is. When this is not, this is not. That means this happens simultaneously. Feeling arises when other conditions are present, feeling arises. When those conditions are not there, feeling does not arise. So, since it is happening dependent on factors, we cannot say as a third party intervene and say, I feel. But the mind becomes aware of the feeling just as feeling. That is called anupassana. Anupassana means seeing as it is happening. Not before, no after. Surely we cannot pay attention to feeling that is already past. Nor can we pay attention to the feeling that is not arisen. When it is there, we pay attention. And that's a very good subject of meditation. And also as our awareness increases, we can make the distinction pleasantness of the feeling and painful feeling when arises, we become aware of the painful feeling and become aware unpleasantness of the pleasant feeling. Then neither painful nor pleasant feeling we become aware of. How can we know a feeling is neither pleasant nor unpleasant? That is the tricky part. Many people think that there are only two kinds of feelings, pleasant or unpleasant. But there is a feeling called neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling. How can we make the distinction? How can we see that? The neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling is when our awareness increases, there comes a moment when the mind is not reacting to the feeling. Mind is not, we react to the pleasant feeling or we react to unpleasant feeling. And there is a feeling which when it arises, mind does not react. It simply remains sometimes confused because according to Chakka Sutta, I think you have listened to Chakka Sutta, when neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling arises, there will be sammohang apajjati. Buddha said, sammohang apajjati, confusion arises. What is the confusion? This is my soul feel. This is how my soul feels. So that is where the confusion means ignorance. Ignorance becomes strong and and also nourished to believe that when the pleasant feeling is this, unpleasant feeling is this, neither of them are there now. This is how my soul feels, my self feels. And therefore, according to that sutta, one has to be careful not to fall into this category or that category, but just become aware of the fact that it is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Buddha gave a simile to illustrate this. That is, suppose there is a deer track. Somebody follows a deer, maybe a hunter, and you follow its footprints, up to a rock, and then he cannot see the footprint again. Then he goes to the other side of the rock, then he sees the footprint again. There's a discontinuation, interruption to the footprints. Now, what has happened is this deer has walked on the rock and gone to the other side. During the time he walked on the rock, he could not leave his footprints there. Similarly, there is a feeling which you cannot put your finger on, but is very subtle. That is neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling. Now, when feeling carnal pleasant feeling, he understands carnal pleasant feeling. What is the carnal pleasant feeling? Pali word is samisam. Samisa. Samisam vedanam vedyama, sukham vedanam vedyamano, samisam sukham vedanam vedyamiti. Samisa means, as translated, carnal pleasant feeling. What is carnal pleasant feeling? Pleasant feeling that arises through our eyes, seeing visual objects. Pleasant feeling arises through hearing beautiful sounds, songs, talks, whatever. And pleasant feeling arises through the nose, smelling perfume and so forth. And pleasant feeling arises through the tongue, taste of food and so on. And the pleasant feeling arises by touch, and the pleasant feeling arises by thinking. Thinking of pleasant objects. That kind of feeling is called carnal pleasant feeling, related to our senses. So, then non-carnal pleasant feeling. He understands, I feel non-carnal pleasant feeling. What is a non-carnal pleasant feeling?
Like piti.
Piti? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Piti, sukha, both are pleasant feeling. Non-carnal means non-carnal pleasant feeling is described in Samyutta Nikaya in Vedana Samyutta. There are Okay, this is non-carnal, a pleasant feeling. A meditator, a bhikkhu, he says bhikkhu, having overcome 5 hindrances, having gone away, gone to a forest, quiet place, solitary place, where there are no sounds. There are qualities of solitary place: appasadda, appanigosa, vijanavata, manusaraseya, patisallana, sarupa. That is, no sound, of no noises, away from human beings. Vijanavata, jana means people, vijanavata means their movement, feeling their movement, no such things. And manusara sayakani, suitable for hiding away from human beings. And patisallana sarupani, suitable, conducive for solitary living. When one goes to such a place, that is called vivicheva kame, vivichakusaledame, seclusion from human habitats, and secluded from unwholesome mental states. What are the unwholesome mental states, especially in attaining jhanas? Hindrances. 5 hindrances. Now, these are very basic requirement. And then arises joy and happiness. That happiness is called non-carnal happiness, pleasant feeling. And non-carnal pleasant feeling also has a quality. There is another non-carnal pleasant feeling higher than this. What is that? Attaining second jhana. Then there is another non-carnal pleasant feeling attaining the third jhana. And even higher than that is the fourth jhana. Higher than that is attainment of stream entry. Even higher than that is one's returner. You see, it goes on that scale of degrees. Highest is the attainment of Arantul. That attainment is called non-carnal pleasant feeling. That pleasant feeling, the sutta says, when you feel non-carnal pleasant feeling, your attainment is a very, very high attainment. Not just ordinary attainment. At least you have attained jhana. If not, high attainment. That is called non-carnal pleasant feeling. You find this, all this in Sangyutta Nikaya, Vedana Sangyutta. Then, non-carnal pleasant feeling. He understands, I feel non-carnal pleasant feeling. Even if, temporarily, when we meditate, even temporarily, our greed fades away. That moment we experience non-carnal pleasant feeling. The moment that our hatred, anger, resentment fades away, that moment we experience non-carnal pleasant feeling. Any moment our confusion fades away, that moment we experience non-carnal pleasant feeling. So, attaining jhana is even higher than that. Even before attaining jhana, we can attain this temporary non-carnal pleasant feeling. Then, carnal painful feeling, very obvious. What is a carnal pleasant, unpleasant feeling? We all know that. Through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind, many times a day, we probably experience non-carnal, unpleasant feeling. Seeing the object that you don't want to see, hearing a sound that you don't want to hear, smelling the smell that we don't want to smell, tasting something very spicy, we don't want to have it. Then touching something that you don't want to touch, and thinking something that we don't want to think. These are carnal, unpleasant feelings. What the carnal, unpleasant, non-carnal, unpleasant feeling? Non-carnal, unpleasant feeling is you meditate. This happens especially in meditation. You meditate, following all the instructions, rules, regulations, going to a solitary place and this and that. Everything is wonderful. But you can see somebody else is doing much better than I do. You get frustrated. This frustration is non-carnal, unpleasant feeling. But still it is much better than the carnal, unpleasant feeling. Why? You make effort, you are very sincere, you found a suitable place, suitable posture, follow instructions, and so forth. Having done all these things, still you don't have you have not gained much. At that time, you are not angry with somebody, because there is no one to blame. You are not angry with yourself, because you are very sincere. You do whatever you can do. But this simply is a frustration that you don't get. For that frustration you cannot blame anybody, you cannot, because there is none to blame. And that's non-carnal, unpleasant feeling. What does it teach us? When non-carnal, unpleasant feeling arises, how can we use it as a part of our meditation? Then, this is what is called failure. Failure is the pillar of success. Even in spiritual practice, we think, I do everything that I'm supposed to do, and I have not attained. Perhaps there must be another way. Maybe I may be too rigid, too uptight, too enthusiastic, and too pushy. I may be striving harder. Siddhartha Gautama, when he was practicing self-mortification, all the time he must have had a lot of frustration, because he had not attained what he wanted to attain. But he never gave up. So, when non-carnal displeasure, painful feeling arises, one would not be upset with the system or with not blaming anybody, but they think, yes, I may be doing something wrong. Let me review my practice. Let me do something different. But don't give up the practice. Don't give up the practice. If this doesn't work, let me try something else. But the striving, effort should always be there. So we get more encouragement when we have non-carnal, unpleasant feeling. And also non-carnal, unpleasant feeling arouse our spiritual urgency. We may say to ourselves, well, this is not the first time I had this problem. I might have had it in the past as well. So now I am more experienced and I have to balance my faculties. This is where in commentaries and the text also talk about balancing factors, faculties, saddha, virya, sati, samadhi, panya. These factors, we have to identify them, how much saddha I have, how much virya I have, how much concentration I have, how much wisdom I have, how much mindfulness I have. These factors we have to identify and balance them, and then arouse our spiritual urgency. If I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? And therefore, I must strive it in a different way. That's how we use our spiritual unpleasant or non-carnal